There are certain sections and certain individuals who can't resist the Prime Minister doing well. It's coming from a very deeply rooted entitled space that how can he be the Prime Minister, then how can he do well? I've seen 10 years of UPA. I've seen 10 years of Prime Minister Modi's leadership. There is absolutely no comparison. The fact that Mumbai today has not had a terror attack is proof enough that the state government, the central government have made Mumbai and India far safer.
Have you met with Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi?
I haven't met them in part.
Is it awkward when you leave the Congress
Look,
party?
I'll be honest with you. I don't believe I left the Congress. I think the Congress left me.
There's a huge hue and cry happening in the country, in the political sphere, saying that the 2024 election was stolen.
One day you're blaming the media. One day you'll blame the judiciary. These are just excuses actually for a lack of inner party democracy. If the party doesn't conduct elections, the party doesn't allow people to rise on merit, nobody will trust that party to fight on behalf of strengthening India's democracy.
One section in the Congress is that these young chaps, they got it because of the legacy of their fathers. Now they are backstabbing us.
I think the party moved away from wanting people who have constructive suggestions. Many of the colleagues are there because they are disruptive. That's an organizational shift in mindset, where I think the leadership also came to the conclusion that we need people who can abuse the Prime Minister.
Do you see in the foreseeable future that Mumbai can again position itself as a global city?
Mumbai's competition today is Dubai in the west and Singapore in the east. In India, there is space and demand for one more international finance city. And the natural city that should come to is Mumbai.
Why this happened with Maharashtra? Is it just politics?
Mumbai lost 10 years purely because of politics. So it's not a federal issue. It's not a center-state issue. These were internal party issues that led to a city like Mumbai being unable to unleash its full potential.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. My guest today is Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament Milind Deora. In an earlier avatar, when he was in the Congress party, he was the Minister of State for Communications and Information and Technology and Shipping. He became a Member of Parliament when he was just 27. His father Milind Deora was Mayor of Mumbai, so the family knows everything about governing India's major metropolis. My conversation today will of course be political, but also about the urban decay of Mumbai and whether there's any hope for its 22 million inhabitants. Thank you, Milind, for being part of the podcast. I've been wanting to have you on the show for a long time, but something or the other happens.
I've been wanting to be on your show for a long time.
Thank you. So, of course, I'll get to the political aspect. Since usually it's politics that we discuss on the podcast. But I also want to talk about Mumbai, the city. Your dad was mayor and you've been a total Mumbaikar. So I want to, because, we did a podcast recently about urban decay, our cities, by all the problems and things. So that got a whole lot of people saying that, it don't just restrict it to Delhi, Gurgaon. Talk about other cities and things. So I will talk about that too. But first, the political part. So I'll just one or two political questions and then we'll move on. So I just want to know how comfortable are you in the NDA now?
Very comfortable. I'm comfortable because, to me, very honestly, my late father, who, as you mentioned, was mayor of Mumbai and was a consummate politician, he would often say to me when we were very young, before I got into politics in 2004, that ideologies sometimes separate you, but good ideas unite you. And I think that today, where regardless of party ideology, regardless of alliance ideology, I think the fact is that the world recognizes the Prime Minister for what he's trying to do to elevate India. And in that sense, to be part of his team is something I always wanted to do.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that this is something which even many members in the opposition understand, that this goes beyond party A, party B, where you genuinely want to strengthen the hands of somebody who wants to do something good for India. Mr. Eknath Shinde is somebody who I like his style of leadership. It's certainly not, it's very different from a national party. It's a regional party. But I like that he's somebody who's accessible. He has his ears to the ground. In fact, I see a lot of similarities. When I joined him, I made that speech in Marathi, where I said that I see a lot of similarities between him and my late father. They both came from nothing. Mr. Shinde was a auto rickshaw driver. My father also came from Rajasthan with no money in his pocket. And Mumbai, or the larger Mumbai region, the Mumbai metropolitan region, has that ability to make people, to empower people. And it's truly a city of dreams. So I like the fact that he, as Chief Minister of Maharashtra, today as Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, today as Housing Minister of Maharashtra, as Urban Development Minister of Maharashtra, focuses 80 or 90% on development and the rest on politics. So to me, those are issues which actually transcend political ideology. And I think that the reason we've all become so politicized in our heads that we often think that a politician's job is just to do politics, when actually a politician's job is to do politics during elections. But for the 5 years after that, it's to govern.
Right.
It's to focus on development. So I'm very happy to answer your question. I'm very, very happy. And they've been very good to me. I've been in many ways empowered to, in Parliament as one of the NDA's lead speakers in the Rajya Sabha, to participate on important debates, to participate constructively on debates, to reduce the amount of politics in my speeches, focus more on development suggestions. And
do you
those are
have
the
freedom
things.
of speech as such in in your party, in more than the party, in the NDA? Like, do you have a freedom to disagree with certain things, air your views, or is it very strict Anushasan in the party that you
Look,
cannot?
I think every party and every alliance and every individual has platforms available to them to air certain concerns that they may have, to disagree, to agree. I certainly feel that there is a greater sense of democracy in the NDA camp than there was in my erstwhile avatar. In earlier places, if you said something privately or publicly, where you spoke your mind, even on something which was not necessarily controversial, there were many ways you would get reprimanded. The simplest way would be, telling you off, which is okay, but then a cold shoulder, deliberately sidelining somebody. I don't think that happens here. And I think that really stems from, Smita, from leadership that's secure.
You had tweeted in 2019, I'm disappointed with what is happening in the party. And that made a lot of waves then. But from 2019 to 2024, because it was in 2024 that you quit the party. But that's a long time, especially for a young man, to stay on in a party when he's feeling stifled, not heard, and barbs coming your way. Why did it take so long for you to leave?
Look, those are honestly things which I really prefer not to speak too much about. And the fact is, my family has had a very old association with the Congress party. And I'm thankful for what the Congress party has given me. But the fact is, people like us also contributed to the party. People like us never embarrassed the party. We never, none of our statements or actions led to disrepute for the Congress party. We were seen as people who could speak sense, who could bat for the party, could offer constructive suggestions. All I'll say is that I think that my personal experience, and I know that this is true of many colleagues of mine who continue to remain in the party, I think the Congress is a very different party today than it was when I joined politics in 2004. So in 2 decades, there's been a massive transformation.
Yours was during Manmohan Singh as Prime Minister era.
Mine was during when he came to power.
Yeah.
It was before that.
Yeah, you were in the cabinet.
I was in the government in 2011, yes.
Yeah.
But the Congress party in 2002, 2003, during the Vajpayee era, during the Manmohan Singh era, was a very, very different party than it is today. And that is something which I know many congressmen, senior, junior, young and old, in the party, who are out of the party, sense that. There are many reasons for that. There's no point getting into that. But in many ways, for someone like me, the party in some ways became unrecognizable.
But when you say this, it's usually the older lot which say it, Ye wo zamana nahi, ye
well, I come from a generation which is a mix. So I've seen my father working very closely. And I, in many ways, of course, I had ideas which were different from his. But I also appreciated his generation's way of doing politics. one example, for instance, to me, when I came back from the US and I came back to India in 99, 2000, and I was involved in some ways in the family business, doing some NGO activity, and got into politics in 2004. For me, the Congress party's economic ideology, and I come from Mumbai, economics is important, was Dr. Manmohan Singh's economic legacy. It was the legacy of 91 reforms. And that was not what I expected just only in 2004, even before that. I recall in 2001 when Vajpayee ji was Prime Minister of India, and the government was bringing the insurance bill for the first time to allow private sector in insurance. The first insurance bill had 26% FDI. At that time, my father, who was chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament, worked with then Finance Minister Yashwant Sinha to convince the opposition to support that in the interest of the country, which is why millions of Indians today have access to insurance. So the legacy of the Congress party to me was a party that believed in the reforms that Dr. Manmohan Singh implemented from 91 to 96.
Okay.
It changed after 2014 in particular. And I think now I see the Congress has moved to an area economically, if I were to look at just one segment, which has become, it's become extreme left. And it's so in a time when the world...
But they're not in government, so how can you judge them for their economic policies?
Because
yeah, states that you're talking about?
Well, whether it's states, whether it's the parties, the ideas that the party is presenting. This was a party that was above caste, that claimed to be above caste and religion. Today the party is doing something different. This was a party which believed that, which again, Dr. Manmohan Singh's leadership believed that economic reforms can actually unleash India's power and can empower the youth. You're empowering the youth in a very different way. You're not appeasing the youth, you're really empowering the youth. I don't see that happening today. I see that people who believe in that view, who believe in Manmohanomics, that space shrinking. And that's true of many areas. This was a party which, when an issue like 370, in fact, the Congress as the founding party of India spoke about 370 being a temporary provision in the constitution. What happened? What changed? 2019 when 370 was abrogated, it was the same Congress which said it's wrong to abrogate 370. There should be a different constitution in the state of Jammu and Kashmir as there is in the rest of India. And party leaders tweeted about that. And many people, including myself, said that no, we should be open to the abrogation of 370. And I can tell you this, this goes, again, as someone who grew up in a family of a senior congressman, someone like my father, in the early days, before I really understood the constitutional abrogation of Article 370, he was somebody who was very open about the fact that Kashmir should be fully integrated with India. Not necessarily only from a cultural point of view or only from a political or ideological standpoint. From the point of view that he loved Kashmir, he wanted the people of Kashmir to benefit from what was happening in the rest of India. And he felt that the best way to make Kashmiris feel that their future lies with India, is to open up and give them access to India. So this was not something uncommon in the Congress party. But those things turned. They started to turn in 2014. They started to turn in 2019. And eventually, I think one is people found the space for these kind of ideas shrinking. If one would remind the party that actually these are core Congress ideals. 91 reforms should be claimed by the Congress. When in 2016, India was celebrating 25 years of economic reforms, the party didn't want to celebrate it. In 2021, when the country was celebrating 30 years of economic reforms, the party had nothing to do with it. So,
what do you think? Why is it? Because Dr. Manmohan Singh isn't from the family? Do you think that's the reason? They gave a lot of respect to him.
I don't, look, to be honest with you, my intention wasn't really to go into the Congress. To me, that's the past now.
Sure. Okay.
But I think it's, the party has, and if you zoom out and you look at parties around the world, you look at American politics, for instance, you can see a strain where the Democrat Party or some sections, because there are only two parties. It's not, the spectrum isn't as wide as it is in India. You can see that certain sections of the Democrat Party are pulling very far to the left. You can see sections of the Republican Party that are pulling very far to the right. But ultimately, a leader has to balance it and bring it. You can move to center right, center left. That's acceptable. When you become an extremist party or an extremist ideology, then that creates lots of problems.
Congress was centre-left for a long period of time. But, when you quit the party...
You could argue on some economic issues, they were centre-right.
Centre-right. When you were unhappy in the party, before I would say quit, when you were unhappy in the party, at the same time, there was the whole Sachin Pilot incident where, people said he's going to move away, he was not happy. And there was one section in the Congress that these young chaps, whether it is Milind, whether it is Sachin, or whether it is Scindia, all these guys have got so much so early in life. And mostly they got it because of the legacy of their fathers in the party. And now they are backstabbing us. Did that hurt at all? Because Rahul even said that if Milind wants to leave, if Himanta wants to leave, they can leave.
Look, I don't deny that we got a lot from the Congress party. I said that in the beginning of this interview. But to think that people haven't given back to the Congress party is being very entitled for anyone to say that there's only one individual or one group of people that work for the Congress party and everyone else is paid labor. That's a wrong attitude to have, and that's part of the reason why it's failed. Why did some of the people you mentioned do what they did? I don't know. For me, it was very clear that I wanted to contribute. I entered politics in 2004, and in fact, my statement of intent to the leadership of the Congress party at that time was to genuinely bring about positive change. At some level, I think the party moved away from wanting people who have constructive suggestions. And I think I can see that today in Parliament, for instance. I can see that in the Rajya Sabha, where I'm a member, that many of the colleagues, without singling out anyone, are not people who necessarily have something constructive to offer, but are there because they are disruptive. I think that's a organizational shift in mindset, where I think the leadership also came to the conclusion that we don't need nation builders anymore. We need people who can essentially abuse the Prime Minister, who can essentially say things that we don't want to say. And look, political parties, all parties need all kinds of people. But when a party and an organization and a leadership only emphasizes on a certain strain of people, then if you don't belong to that strain, you don't find place in that party.
For politicians, often they have to take a stand even if it goes against their grain because the party whip is that or the party ideology is that. Where do you stand in this Hindi-Marathi row? In the sense that Marathi is not...
Our party's stand is very clear. Our party's stand is very clear that Marathi is the primary language of Maharashtra. We believe that people who come to Mumbai, if you saw my speech in Parliament a few weeks ago, when there were a few MPs from Tamil Nadu who were retiring, and I spoke
Hindi,
and I said, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu have a lot in common. We both value and respect our culture. We respect Marathi, we respect Marathi culture, we respect Marathi theatre. Tamil people respect their culture. And we welcome people from other parts.
I'd like to take you back to the 1970s when your party, I mean, of course it's split, but when your party beat up the Tamilians, calling them Lungiwalas.
Today, let me tell you, in today's day and age, the Shiv Sena led by Eknath Shinde-ji is the only of the Senas, and there are 3 Senas, that is being constructive. What is our demand? We're saying that Mumbai is open for everyone, but come in and respect our culture. And to be honest, Smita, this is something which transcends Mumbai. This transcends India. If you look at Europe, what are Europeans saying? You want to migrate to our culture? What is a country like Japan, which has an aging population, saying? You want to migrate to Japan in search of a job? We need labor. Come in and respect our culture. That's all that we're saying. So there is a very big difference today between us and another party that is trying to be opportunistic. So our stand is very clear. Eknath Shinde, I would say, is somebody who has very good relations, more than many leaders preceding him in Shiv Sena, with communities with different communities.
But this whole Maharashtrian pride thing and this patak ke marenge business and all that, how do you take it as a young politician?
I have never believed you should take violence into your own hands. I've never believed that. I can never support that kind of action. But I do believe, as someone who, by the way, my mother tongue is Marathi. My mother is a Maharashtrian. Her Marathi is in fact more Shuddh than many politicians in Maharashtra. She speaks really, really good Marathi. And she keeps giving me flack that you're Marathi, you're a cathedral school English-speaking boy.
Anglicized
boy who didn't pay it. And she's right. So I believe Marathi is a beautiful language. Having said that, I believe it's important for people to learn other languages also. I think people who are in Mumbai, in different parts of Maharashtra, should certainly learn Marathi, certainly learn Hindi, should certainly learn English. I, in fact, actively encourage young Maharashtrian boys and girls to learn English also.
Yeah.
I think it's empowering for them. It gives them global access. But at the same time, when somebody comes to Mumbai, living in Mumbai, not from the state, benefits from Mumbai, makes fun of Marathi, is rude, makes fun of Marathi culture, Marathi theatre, we can say what we want in this studio, but you're bound to have a reaction.
Yeah.
And that's true of any part of the world. If somebody comes to Europe from Northern Africa and says, I hate European culture and I hate Western Judeo-Christian values, you are going to have a reaction. You can then turn around and say, this is right or wrong. So I think it's important that any immigrant to any part of the world, everyone has a right to do that. In India, I believe anyone from anywhere in India has the right to come to Maharashtra and we have the right to go anywhere. But if a Maharashtrian goes to Kashmir and we disrespect Kashmiri values, there'll be a problem. So that's all we're asking for. We're not saying there should be violence. In fact, today, as I said, there are only two parties that are actively engaging in violence. Our stand is, come, Mumbai needs people, Mumbai attracts the best of talent, but please respect our culture just as we respect others' culture.
Okay, since you are part of the ruling coalition there, tell me what is happening in the government with the agriculture minister caught playing rummy, then he gets sports ministry? Why sports? Because playing cards is a sport?
I really can't comment on that. This is the prerogative of the leaders of the alliance, the chief minister, the deputy chief minister. If you're asking me what's happening in the state beyond things that happen, there are controversies that happen in every government, in every state, in every part of the world. Generally, I would say the state, and as a Mumbaikar, I'm very proud that the larger Mumbai metropolitan region is implementing projects that it should have done 20 or 30 years ago. I'll give you a few examples. When I entered politics and fought my first election at the age of 27 in 2004, and I would encourage you, please Google that. One of my speeches and the issues I was fighting on was that we need a trans-harbour sea link which connects Mumbai to the hinterland. Today it's called the Atal Setu Bridge. It's the largest sea bridge. And I used to give the example of the Brooklyn Bridge in New York, as someone who lived in the US. And I said that the Brooklyn Bridge was built in 1885 with the aim of decongesting Manhattan. And in 2004, almost 120 years later, it's still serving that purpose. So the vision in 1885 was a 100-200 year vision.
Yeah.
Sadly, and that's another separate issue when you talk about the Congress party, state government, central government, state bid for a project, central government would revoke environmental clearances, back and forth between two governments. Finally, and I credit Devendra Fadnavis, who was the chief minister at the time, I credit Eknath Shinde, who was the chief minister, to continue that, who've done an outstanding job of implementing that project, of implementing the coastal road project, which I don't know when you last came to Mumbai, but a game changer for north-south connectivity, east-west connectivity. We are now building a second airport.
I had saved, I think, 2 hours sometimes going to Thane and Navi Mumbai and all that by taking those roads, the newly constructed roads.
And the Navi Mumbai airport, which will be one of the country's largest airports. And that feeds into the Trans-Hub, the Atal Setu Bridge, and vice versa. A project which lost almost 8 years because environment clearances were revoked by the centre.
You tell me why this happened with Maharashtra. Is it just politics or is it because of
just politics.
Levels of...
It was politics. Mumbai lost out. Mumbai lost 10 years, sadly, purely because of politics. And one day I will write a memoirs and I will in detail go into what happened. We lost Navi Mumbai, we delayed Navi Mumbai airport purely because of internal one-upmanship between governments, within governments, between government and party. The rest is for you to decipher what I'm talking about. We lost projects like the Coastal Road, the Atal Setu project, the Mumbai Metro. And these things, I love Delhi, but these things hurt Mumbai. And it moved a lot of investments to cities like NCR. You also have a unique situation, remember, where the NCR pie is divided technically between 4 state governments. So you have Haryana, UP, Delhi, and to some extent Rajasthan competing for the NCR pie.
Yeah.
That competition helps NCR. In the Mumbai metropolitan region, they all come under one state, the state of Maharashtra.
Shouldn't it be more functional and more efficient if that happens?
It is, but I'm saying that it was easier in a way for us to do things, but we lost time. Frankly, until Devendra Fadnavis became chief minister, after that Eknath Shinde took forward this work, we just lost time. And if you ask me...
But it's a sad mirror to federalism. It doesn't work, that means. That
federalism works, but you have a situation where you had a party which was in power in the center and state, where you had one section saying one section was saying, and I was part of that group, that was saying that Mumbai is the world's busiest single runway airport. The world's busiest. It's almost 25% busier than the second busiest single runway airport in the world.
Okay.
It's dangerous. It can lead to an accident tomorrow. And there was one section in the party saying, develop, grow our microeconomy, grow Mumbai's economy, Maharashtra's economy, country's economy. And there was another section at the same time saying, no, let's revoke environmental clearances. There was one section saying, let's encourage mining for rare earths. China had a rare earth mining policy in the 1980s when nobody was talking about electric vehicles and lithium-ion batteries. And that's paying them rich dividends today because today they control 80% of the value chain. When the Western countries were saying, we don't want to pollute our countries, move it all to China. When India was looking at doing those things, there was another section in the party and in the government saying, this is bad, I'm going to go against it. Similarly with national security. I remember there was again some sections even in UPA who were, let's go after Naxalism. Let's crush Naxalism. In fact, I recall a debate in Parliament where a senior leader of the Communist Party, a lady MP, and she was making a point, I think Mr. Chidambaram was Home Minister, saying if you want to end left-wing extremism, develop the area, more mobile connectivity. And his response was, how do I build a mobile tower? If I go and build a tower, the person who's building the tower will get shot or killed. And then there were other sections in his own government who were saying, this is not how you deal with it. So it's that confusion. So it's not a federal issue. It's not a center-state issue. These were internal party issues that led to a policy paralysis, that led to India becoming a part of the Fragile Five, that led to a city like Mumbai being unable to unleash its full potential.
But even Mumbai, because like you were talking about environmental issues, yes, there is political agreed, but there are several levels, no? There's BMRC, then there's, what is the other one? BMC, then there's MMRDA, MHADA. These are several layers and they are at cross currents. Is that the reason? Because when I'm reading up, it seems like one organization doesn't see eye to eye with the other. As a result of that, you're talking about crores of people who are suffering. Infrastructure crumbling, not able to provide all this because nothing happens.
No, I think you're raising a very valid point which actually transcends Mumbai. The point that you are making is true for every city in India, which is that there are many agencies. There are some agencies in every city. It could be
in this city, like in Delhi, we have the police, which is not under Home Ministry. So policing is an issue.
Forget Delhi, for example. Forget Delhi for a moment. If you look at any other metro, if you look at any tier 1 city, tier 2 city, it is a fact that there are many agencies. It is a fact also that there will be local agencies, like in Mumbai, the municipality. Then there will be state agencies, like the police, like MHADA, which is the housing authority, like the Mumbai Metropolitan Region Development Authority, which is MMRDA. Then you'll also have central agencies. So for instance, today in a city like Mumbai, 50% of India's rail traffic, daily rail traffic, emanates from Mumbai's suburban rail network. That's run by the government of India, the Railway Ministry. A large part of land in Mumbai is owned by the Shipping Ministry, the Mumbai Port Trust or Port Authority now. So there is a case to be made, which is a larger issue, and this is true of all urban India, where the fact that India is urbanizing second to China. We have one of the fastest urbanizing rates in the world. Do we have enough devolution of powers? Have powers moved to the local municipalities?
Have they? No.
No, not as fast as they should have. Is there enough? And that is the solution. So I always give the example, when you have a terror attack in a city like New York, you'll see the mayor out on the streets.
Yeah.
In
the fire chief, all these people get out.
In India, you'll typically see the chief minister of that state.
Yeah.
You will rarely know who the mayor is. I poll people sometimes that how many people know who the mayor of Mumbai is, the mayor of Delhi is, mayor of Kolkata if they live there. So that is symptomatic of a breakdown in urban governance. I accept that point. Mumbai is no different. Every city in the country is affected. And that really means that can the state governments devolve powers to local governments? Once that starts to happen, and by the way, there's a constitutional amendment to that effect. Once that starts to happen, and the center has a role to play in that. The center, through funds in the UD ministry, like smart city funds, etc., can actually incentivize state governments to devolve more powers to local municipalities. When you start having powerful mayors and you start having political leaders who would rather be mayors of large cities than a minister in the state government, that's when you will start to see real urban governance.
Okay.
And that's when you will start to see one individual, one office, being able to coordinate activities across agencies run by the central government, the state government, and the local municipalities. So that is now why does it not happen? The truth is, if you ask me very candidly, it's not a political issue.
Yeah.
It's not an electoral issue.
Which it should be, if your garbage is not picked up, if there is a stray dog menace, if your roads have filled with potholes, these should be issues over which elections should be fought in a city like Mumbai or Kolkata or Lucknow or Delhi or whatever.
Gurgaon, yes.
Yeah. These are the issues which bother people so much that, this whole ease of living. Now, Mumbai has this thing of being maximum city, but the urban decay is so much that even a visitor to Mumbai, from the airport to your first meeting, the smells, the exhaustion of traffic is so much that you tend to look and say, yeah, maximum city. Yeah, of course, city of dreams, etc., is there. But the decay is so tremendous.
But can I be very candid? I'm being very honest with you. I accept that all cities in India have this urban governance structural problem. But despite that, today I can tell you, and I've been very critical of Mumbai. I've often, as an MP who's been in and out of Delhi for the last 20 years, often lamented that Delhi's infrastructure is far better than Mumbai's. Today, if I look at the projects that have been executed, the projects that are about to be executed, Mumbai, honestly, will be a much better city from a quality of life point of view, from a traffic point of view, from a public transport point of view. You and I may be fortunate enough to take a car from the airport to the hotel or to where we live. People who use public transportation will be a much, much better city to live in than even Delhi.
No, what are you talking? Those visuals every time of people pushing their way into.
Please, again, I'm not saying
local trains.
I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm saying we have a long way to go. If you look at the metro,
it's already 15 years too late.
Yes, it is. I said that, and I explained why these things are late. If you look at the metro once it's fully implemented, if you look at
what is that time? 20 years?
No. It's almost. I mean,
it's dug up. The whole city is dug up.
No, by the way, the metro is going to be now, for example, from South Mumbai to reach the northern part of the city. People are going to be in an air-conditioned metro. There are stretches which are already opening in a phase-wise manner. From a public transportation, the easing the congestion on the railway network, which you're right, the visuals that people in the media report, and they should report, you will start to see a sea change when it comes to that. In terms of traffic, today, if you know Mumbai, if you're going from Kolaba to Juhu, if you had to go during peak hours, you would say, I'd rather not do anything, I'd rather stay at home or do it on Zoom. Things have already radically improved because of different infrastructure projects. The coastal road, for instance, takes you right from Nariman Point up to Bandra. The next leg is going to be implemented, going all the way to Virar. Mind you, the vision of Mumbai now is no longer Mumbai to Juhu and Warsaw, on the western side. The vision will be all the way up to Palghar. We have the country's largest port coming up in Palghar. We will have a third airport coming up in that area. So the Mumbai metropolitan region, it will take time, but things are moving fast. The Mumbai metropolitan region will have 3 major airports. And frankly, that's how large cities in the world work. If you look at London, for instance, there's Heathrow, there's Stansted Airport, there's Gatwick Airport, there are many airports. If you look at New York City, for instance, there's LaGuardia, there's JFK, there's Newark. So I do admit that these things were delayed because of a lack of political will, and these things were delayed because of infighting within a particular
Probably
party.
I shouldn't ask a South Mumbai boy, but still I'll ask you that will all of Mumbai be a livable city? And do you give me one time, like approximate date bhi chalega, but it will be a livable city?
Yes, it will. And I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. If you saw recently when there was flooding in Gurgaon, I thought of a similar situation that used to happen in Mumbai many, many years ago, till we upgraded our stormwater drainage network. Cities like Gurgaon have that problem where you had indiscriminate development. You suddenly were a farmland where the government allowed people to build a 50-story tower and there wasn't enough infrastructure. The sewage infrastructure, the stormwater drainage network didn't exist.
There's no place for the water to go.
And that's why you had flooding. I want to give, since you're talking about urban development, let me give you one example. I brought India's first cluster redevelopment project to South Mumbai. An area in Mumbai Devi, which is like the Bhendi Bazaar area, congested to the core. Old dilapidated buildings, chawls collapsing, people dying every monsoon. We are now almost 3,500 families will receive housing in that area. In fact, our policy, our state government's policy, and I've said this to the government of India as well, when it comes to urban regeneration and urban renewal, especially from a housing point of view, for slums, for people living in dilapidated buildings, is one of the best urban development policies in the world. And I really encourage, if state governments came to Mumbai, came to Maharashtra, studied our slum rehabilitation policy, studied what you said is MHADA, which rehabilitates chawls. If we do that across the country, you can truly make every city livable.
When I saw Salam Bombay, I was, overcome with shame. Everybody was like, oh, what a lovely movie. Seeing movies like that, it shamed me so much. And I said, mere lifetime mein ye kabhi badalna chahiye.
Today I'll tell you, gone are the days where people, bleeding hearts would say how beautiful the city has so many slums. Today, people who live in slums and people who don't live in slums have developed the political will to make housing and affordable housing a political and electoral issue. So while you're right that a mayoral election, I've been a huge proponent of direct mayors in cities around India. While I admit that is not an electoral issue, can I stand up in a crowded street during a local municipal election and say, we will give you directly elected mayors and win votes on that? Probably not. It's not an electoral issue. But urban housing, rehousing slum dwellers has become an electoral issue.
Has it?
It has, and we're delivering on it. And
if
today,
it had, then when you were doing this cluster in Mumbai Devi, why don't they vote for you then?
But they do. People accept that. People, for example, now in a place called Ramabai Ambedkar Nagar in Ghatkopar, which is one of the largest slums in Asia after Dharavi.
I know, I've done a story on it.
Today, 14,000 families have been made eligible. In fact, Eknath Shinde, when he was chief minister, he implemented it. He brought different agencies together. Not only is it a win-win for the slum dwellers, but the government will stand to make almost 10,000 crore rupees. So there are win-win schemes in place where you can rehouse people, You can rejuvenate the city. Government can make money to invest in the infrastructure. So where I disagree with you is Mumbai has done exceedingly well in the last few years.
I have family living in Ghatkopar, and when the floods happened, their homes got flooded, buildings came crumbling down because of that. Like they were declared unlivable, and for years together. And many of my cousins had, then applied for jobs abroad and left, and those families are scarred forever. Families which have lived for generations in Mumbai were scarred forever from those incidents. And today when I tell them that nahi, Mumbai badal raha hai, they say, rehne de. It will never.
I will tell your family members, do we need to do more? Yes, we do. I'm not someone who's going to sit back and say everything is done. But I would say with great confidence that the city is building the infrastructure projects that it needs to think 50, 60 years down the line. A Trans-Harbour Sea Link, which, as I said, connects Mumbai to its hinterland. It's not just going to make Navi Mumbai Airport feasible. It's going to throw open vast tracts of land that can create affordable housing. And there may be people in Ghatkopar who will say, I don't want to live in Ghatkopar anymore. I want to go and live in the hinterland because I can commute between the two in 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So
anyway people were doing even when commuting was not possible because of the housing
But that's how large cities around the world work.
Yeah.
So if you study cities, if you study in New York, very few people live in Manhattan even if they work there.
Yeah,
they commute from Queens and other boroughs.
Yes.
Very few people, for instance, live in San Francisco, even if they work there. They come from Marin County, they come from Oakland. They're connected with bridges, with public transportation, they drive. So that is the vision for a large global world-class city. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, but is the planning in place for 20 years from now, or is it just patchwork planning?
No, it's
एक coastal bridge बना दो, एक coastal road बना दो, यहाँ से यहाँ तक metro start कर दो.
It's a very good question, and I'll answer you with one simple point. Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum, who came to Mumbai sometime back, last year in fact, we took him to Eknath Shinde-ji's home during Ganpati. He came and had everything. We offered him Puran, Poli and all the Maharashtrian sweets.
Oh my God.
In his 80s, and he still ate everything. We made a presentation to him. Devendra Fadnavis ji was there, and we made a presentation to him on what the MMR plan looks like with his entire staff of the World Economic Forum, who are quite experienced in this area. They've done it in many other cities and parts of the world. They said that this is a plan which thinks about 50, 60 years down the line. It has green components in it. It has public transportation components in it. It has affordable housing components in it. It has sustainable urban development components in it. So, but anyone can make a plan. Anyone can make a nice presentation. What I'm excited about is it being implemented? And today I would say it's being implemented.
Okay.
And I'm seeing that before my own eyes.
Okay.
Projects that I thought would take 10 years, 15 years, the Atal Setu, the coastal road. Today people are using those projects.
There's these housing projects that you are talking about, moving people away from slums, redevelopment, the gentrification projects, because this is the word which is used in many of the boroughs in New York also.
I don't like that word. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I prefer urban regeneration.
Urban, okay. That sounds more acceptable. That's true. So these things which are coming about, how do we see that it's equitable in all this? Because there's this talk that those who are going to build, they're going to make sure that there are the rich people live in one area and the poor people, and the segregation will still be
Very
there.
good question. So the beautiful thing about it is the policy of the government, like the SRA policy, the slum rehabilitation policy, stipulates that while a developer is developing a particular slum and selling that to wealthy people, they have to build affordable housing in that same area. So if you look at the mill lands, Mumbai was the textile hub of the world, in fact. And the city really gained its prominence and became the commercial capital of the country on the back of its textile industry. And those textile mills shut down. The textile industry obviously moved to different parts of India, to other parts of the world. And those textile mills were sold. And those textile mills, while you'll see a mall, while you'll see a fancy tower, you will also see affordable housing. So these cluster projects, for instance, which take a large part of land, you build housing for the wealthy, but you also build housing for people who need it most. So that's why I said it's a fantastic example. In fact, I spoke about it in Parliament 2 sessions ago.
Okay.
That it's a fantastic example for states around the country. Delhi has slums. I don't know about Gurgaon, for example, but I'm sure they also have.
Yeah.
So when you have a project which is an inclusive project, you are giving a developer it's a public-private partnership. You're giving a private player some incentive to do that work, but you're also rehousing people.
Okay.
And by rehousing people, you're creating affordable housing stock. So you will never have a situation. That's why I said gentrification to me sounds like you're taking affordable housing and putting people who can only access affordable housing in another part of the city, and then it gets gentrified and becomes a place only for certain millennials and cool people.
We saw that happening in America. We've seen that inner city.
You don't see that
projects.
in Mumbai. So you'll see in Mumbai, if you look at an area like Worli, you look at an area like Parel, you will see fancy towers, but right there you'll see affordable buildings as well. So both can coexist, and frankly, both need to coexist.
In London they do. In Paris they do still.
Because even people support it, even developers support it. Because if you're a resident who's buying a fancy 5,000 square feet home, where's the staff that works for you going to be living in? Where is the driver who's driving you going to be living in? They can't come from Navi Mumbai. They need to be in that vicinity. So it works very well. There is affordable housing stock that is in fact larger in numbers than the stock which is for sale.
Okay. I also have to ask you this about, once upon a time, Mumbai having this tag of being a global city. Now with all these projects that you're talking about, and Devendra Fadnavis working with breakneck speed along with Mr. Shinde, and getting the support from the centre, which, as you mentioned, is extremely important. With all that happening, do you see in the foreseeable future that Mumbai can again position itself as a global city?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. I think that we can and we will from an infrastructure point of view in the next 10 years. I see no reason why in the next 10 years we will not be a city that can attract the best global talent. But let's be realistic that some things go beyond just hard infrastructure. Mumbai also has its soft infrastructure. We are a lively city. We have the creative services industry. We have the entertainment industry. We have the financial services sector, business. But I think one component which can dramatically help propel Mumbai to become a really world-class destination for investments, for talent. You have the GIFT City now in Gujarat. It was a very good pilot project, which is the first international finance city in the country. It's done very well. Many companies now are setting up offices there. And I often say that, Mumbai's competition is no longer, with respect to Delhi and NCR, is no longer Delhi or Kolkata or Chennai or Bangalore or Ahmedabad. Mumbai's competition today is Dubai in the west and Singapore in the east.
Okay, that's being ambitious.
I think we should be ambitious. Sure. And I think that while we are building world-class infrastructure, how do we create an enabling environment for businesses that match what Dubai is offering and what Singapore is offering? And GIFT City is the only city in the country which has actively done that. So I serve on the Finance Committee of Parliament as well. I actually have made a case, and I strongly believe that in India there is space and demand for one more international finance city. And the natural city that should come to is Mumbai.
But isn't it saturated already, Mumbai?
I don't think so. I think you can do it in certain parts of Mumbai. It doesn't have to be in South Mumbai or in another part of Mumbai that exists today. You can create a new city in the hinterland. As I said, we've got access now through this Trans-Harbour link to Panvel, to Puran, to all these areas. We can identify an area there in Palghar, for instance, where we create something similar to GIFT that allows us to compete globally.
Also like Bengaluru did or Hyderabad did 15 years ago. That can happen. Okay, very heavy conversation. Let's take a break from that and ask you to do these selections for us. Which one would you think is what Mumbai is being identified with today? Marine Drive or the Bandra Worli Sea Link?
I think Mumbai is my honest answer is it's being identified today with the Bandra Worli Sea Link. But to me, Marine Drive will always be the old traditional Mumbai that I grew up identifying Mumbai with.
What did you do there? Did you take
all kinds of things? Everything from just going for a run, stopping on the way from school sometimes on a rainy afternoon to eat butta. There used to be butta sellers there, the corn. And one of the best things to do on a rainy day when you're done with school they would put nimbu and lal mirch, and you would eat that. To campaigning over there.
Okay.
To Mumbai has this culture of morning walks where especially senior citizens go for walks early in the morning, and sometimes as part of campaigns, and even otherwise, I often go there at 6 a.m. to meet more people. So Marine Drive is iconic. I helped restore Marine Drive in 2004 or 5, and we had a huge restoration plan. So to me, Marine Drive is more iconic, but I think for people who come from other cities, they see not even the Bandra Worli ceiling. I think people are now beginning to see the coastal road, which is an extension of the ceiling.
Okay.
Or the Atal Setu as, a symbol of Mumbai.
Okay. For Instagrammers, I guess. Okay. Misal pav or Bombay sandwich?
To be honest, these are very cliched Mumbai foods.
I would
and eggs Kejriwal, for instance, is a Mumbai food.
Yes.
Some kind pav bhaji in Mumbai is
come to
Mumbai
that
food.
too.
My favorite Mumbai food, to be honest, which is my go-to food at any time, is a simple vada pav.
Vada pav. Okay, next. Vada pav or pav bhaji?
I mean vada pav for sure.
You're a vada pav
100%. Usually one vada pav and then the second just the vada.
So when I interviewed, when Nitin Gadkari was made president of the BJP years ago.
I think I saw that.
At that time I asked him, I said, just do one thing. Open one place here in the BJP office where we'll get authentic vada pav now that you're the president of it. I said, sirf wo kar do, because Delhi did not have good vada pav. And the pav bhaji you get in Delhi is also not, because the pav is not the,
Absolutely.
A lot of the bhaji ka taste comes when the pav is perfect.
So Mumbai has this culture of bakeries where they actually make the pav.
Yeah.
And I don't see that in Delhi. If I want to buy a pav for my pav bhaji at home.
Tandoori roti. So Delhi used to have tandoors everywhere. So basically what you did was you took your atta to that to the tandoor, and that guy would make roti with the atta that you took. That was the culture of Delhi as compared to, the buying pav. Next, Pani Puri or Bhel Puri?
Pani Puri.
Really?
Yeah.
I would still go for Bhel Puri
Pani Puri
or I'd go for Sev Puri actually.
Pani Puri any day.
Sach mein. I think the best Pani Puri, Golgappa or Puchka any day beats any of that. So I would still go Calcutta's Puchka.
Mumbai's Pani Puri is very different from the chaat. Mumbai's Bhel Puri is very different from the Bhel Puri you'll get in Delhi's
rubbish in
Bengali
Delhi.
market.
No, Delhi Bhel Puri doesn't match.
And Pani Puri is a healthier snack if you take again the puri out and you put the masala into the pani. It's actually a very healthy snack. It's diet food.
How can if you're a diet food?
No, nutritionists recommend that in fact.
Bhel Puri.
No, the
Pani Puri.
The minus the puri.
Minus. Phir kya? Kuch bhi nahi.
Moong, it's got moong. No?
Since you spoke about eggs Kejriwal and all. Okay, Irani Café or Udupi Hotel. Now you're on.
This is a tough one. I'll tell you why. Because I'm married to a Shetty.
Okay.
And she's one of the only bunts whose families that are not in the food and hospitality industry. They're in the media industry, in fact. But Udupi restaurant for sure.
Okay, that gets my vote too.
Yeah.
Gateway of India or Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj?
Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus.
Yeah?
For sure. I mean, beautiful building, beautifully lit up at night, and right across the street is where the the BMC office is. And if you look at the two of them together, there are many other beautiful buildings in that area. It's a stunning area.
Yeah. But you must have grown up calling it VT. It changed later.
Yes, we called it Victoria Terminus.
Okay, this is a sharp one. Local train
I don't
or
see what the
Bombay
difference
Spirit?
is between the two. Both are the Mumbai Spirit is part of the local train, but I'll tell you
it's
why.
Just survival. What is there in Spirit?
It is, but people who travel in the local train, people who pedestrians, they face the same thing. And so when you say choose one, I think both we have to aspire to give relief to both of them.
Yes. As a young leader, I would want that of you. Okay, next. So Puran, Poli or Shrikhand?
Shrikhand.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to, my aji in Marathi, so my grandmother's home, Shrikhand and the achar that she would make. Those were the...
Kis cheez ka achar?
Amle ka achar. And nimbu ka achar. So sometimes she would make kairi, what we call kairi, which is kacha.
Kacham.
And I used to eat it like a vegetable. I mean, I used to eat roti with achar and then Shrikhand.
Shrikhand. But Puran Puri, unless it's made perfectly and you can't reheat it. So it has to be freshly, got or made or whatever. It has to be made properly and it needs the accompaniments. Shrikhand you can have any which way. Ha. And now snap reaction. What does Ganesh Chaturthi mean for you?
For me, Ganesh Chaturthi means, again, as someone whose mother is Maharashtrian, and for whom Ganesh ji is the main deity, it's something which you gear up for as Ganesh Chaturthi arrives. You celebrate it at home. We have modaks made at home. Very interesting modaks my mother makes, my grandmother used to make, which is with coconut filling inside.
Jaggery and coconut.
Jaggery and coconut. And, as a child, even before I got into politics, my father used to visit all these mandals. We have these in Mumbai. It's a huge festival. And I would go and do that with him all the time. So to me, that's really what Ganesh Chaturthi. It's festivities at home. It's a festive feeling on the streets of Mumbai. In fact, one of my favorite mandals to visit is a chawl called Keshavji Naik Chawl. That's where Ganesh Utsav started.
Oh.
And that's where Lokmanya Tilak started it.
Okay.
And it's in Girgaon, in Thakurdwar area, not very far from, Girgaon is like Opera House, that area. And still do it in a very traditional way. So to me, it's like bringing our deity. It's what we all celebrate. And it's a frantic, exciting, colorful time. It's Mumbai's and Maharashtra's biggest festival.
Nice. Dabbawala. What does it mean to you, the iconic Mumbai Dabbawala? Did you get dabba when you were in school?
No, not in school, no. I used to get like what's called a packed lunch. But what does a dabbawala mean to me? I know some of the people quite well. I've interacted with them. Some of them are people who are karyakartas who've been associated with me and my father for a long time. Very, very hardworking, very sincere people. To me, when I think of them, the fact that they're taking food, a perishable commodity, to someone, the sincerity with which they do it, even if the tiffins are hanging around their bicycle, driving, come rain, come shine, come flooding, come whatever the issue is. I've seen, in fact, during terror attacks in Mumbai, the Dabbawalas still delivered. The day after 26/11, Dabbawalas were still going out and delivering. So they are really, when you said the Mumbai spirit, they really epitomize that spirit. I mean, a never say die approach, always on the go.
Bollywood? There's a lot of talk now happening that, Bollywood they're not creative enough and they've not moved with the times. It's end of times for Bollywood. Is that true?
Look, again, I'm biased and there's a conflict of interest because my wife is in the industry. She's a producer. I would say this. I would honestly say that I think that if I look at beyond the content creation part of it, people can debate, has the content have creators and filmmakers? Are they world class or not? It's debatable. I think that few areas where we really, really excel, even over the West, one is our musicians. And if I think of artists like Sonu Nigam, if I think of artists like Shreya Ghoshal, I mean, the fact that our pop industry has artists who've come from a classical background doesn't exist anywhere in the world. There's no pop artist in the US who has come from a Western classical background. We have that, which makes us truly world class. Rahman being case in point. The other point which I think is very unique, and I think the industry is now starting to really, certain sections are going up the value chain. So today we have some of the best animation companies. We have some of the best visual effects companies.
When they used to go to Singapore or Chennai or whatever to make the animation, you're saying that they should be making it in Mumbai now?
Not should be. They are making it. I'm saying that some of the best Hollywood movies
are doing
the
post-production.
visual effects and the animation are being done by Indian-owned companies. I'm not saying it'll all be happening in India. It could be happening in Canada, which offers incentives. Could be happening in other parts of the world. New Zealand is
Indians doing it.
But there are Indians doing it. There are Indian-owned companies doing it. So I think that the Indian industry, the creative services industry, besides the filmmaking part of it, is actually moving up the value chain. And that's a very encouraging trend.
What's happening these days on international front, because you were part of the delegation which went for the Operation Sindoor. What was your experience during that? There were people from other political parties also in the delegation. How did it feel at that stage to work together for something that was a national issue?
Well, firstly, I've had the privilege and honor of doing some of these delegations in the past, which were multi-party in nature. And I think, I personally believe, in fact, during my speech on Operation Sindoor, one of the suggestions I made is that the government should re-energize and reactivate these international friendship groups. I think more than government to government relations, having multi-party MPs talk to multi-party legislators in a different country is a very sure way of improving ties at a government level. Because people also hear that despite the fact that opposition MPs and Treasury bench MPs may be bickering, they can unite and do something together. And I think in that sense, I have no qualms about saying this, but Dr. Shashi Tharoor, who was the leader of our delegation, led very inclusively, did a fantastic job. We went to countries in South America, Central America, and the US. I've been to some of these countries before. I had been to Panama, Brazil before. I had never been to Guyana, I had never been to Colombia. And of course, I know the US quite well. My late father was really one of the early proponents of stronger Indo-US ties. He worked from Narasimha Rao to Deve Gowda to other prime ministers, to Vajpayee ji, to Manmohan Singh, to strengthen the bilateral track to diplomacy. I think there are different kinds of observations. If you ask me what was the observation in the global south, it obviously is very different from what it was in the United States. In the global south, if you look at a country like Panama, which its economy is entirely dependent on the Panama Canal, which was built almost over a century ago by the Americans, and really to allow ships to, rather than going under South America, to just cut across and cut through Central America. And they're facing a new kind of pressure. And what countries in the global south, like Guyana, which is the fastest growing country in the world,
are they even interested in India?
I'll tell you. So some of them said to us, and they said that, we are now feeling like we're, without naming which country and which leader, that we feel we are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. If China comes and gives us money, and we understand that it comes with conditions, it can lead to a debt trap. But we need their investments, and America has ignored us for the last 20, 30 years. They've been focused on this war on terror. But now America is saying, you better not talk to the Chinese. And we're getting pushed around. They said to us, we want a third alternative. We want India to be that alternative. So I personally believe, based on my observations of the global south, and even if you go beyond that to Africa as well, and Southeast Asia, when you see the fact that USAID has been shut down, which was America's developmental assistance arm, countries not wanting a non-Chinese, non-American partner, I fundamentally believe that India should increase its developmental assistance to these countries. We should increase our private sector participation, public sector participation in these countries. We can lend to these countries. We can invest in these countries. Our companies can develop new markets in these countries. They want our pharmaceuticals. They want our infrastructure. You won't believe it. A country like Colombia buys 5,000 Royal Enfields a year. A small country like Colombia. So there's a
not
huge...
their Harley Davidsons.
Not their Harley. So there's a huge opportunity for people, for India to up the ante in these countries. And I don't think the government can do this. I think the private sector has to be unleashed. The government should really be there only to say, we will give you developmental assistance.
But the government should facilitate it. You know what I mean? Because if there's no ease of doing business, in the sense that if you don't cut the red tape, you need to go there, you need visas for those guys to come here. You need that ease. If that doesn't happen, if there's not a long-term perspective, it's hard to happen.
I think there is, and I think the global south, again, the South America, Africa, Southeast Asia, have traditionally seen India as an ally, as a partner. There are cultural similarities. Let me be very frank, and they culturally, they prefer to have Indians in their country than the Chinese or Americans even. So we have a cultural advantage which others don't have. We have a democratic advantage that some countries don't have. We have a more long-term trust in us that other countries don't have. And we're not the types who will go in and bully and say, don't do this or don't do that.
Yeah.
So there's, to me, that's...
So long as we also don't get obsessed or, get stuck in a quagmire like America did in War on Terror, and we get stuck with, our domestic disputes. Even as I'm doing this interview with you, we know that there's a huge hue and cry happening in the country, in the political sphere, saying that the 2024 election was stolen, and Rahul Gandhi has said that Narendra Modi has won that election by stealing votes. All this is happening, and the Election Commission is besieged because the opposition seems to believe that free and fair polls cannot happen in this country anymore.
Yeah, look, these are things which, again, I don't know how much the public generally buys into these narratives. And I've personally believed that 2014, when Congress got its lowest tally ever, 44 MPs if I'm not mistaken, the Congress was in power. So if the Election Commission was being manipulated, who was manipulating it? So it's a ridiculous argument. And in fact, I would tell many friends in the Congress, blaming, one day you're blaming the media, one day you'll blame the judiciary, one day you'll blame social media platforms, one day you'll blame EVMs. Now from EVMs you've gone to electoral rolls. These are just excuses for a lack of inner party democracy.
No, but all these things that you're commenting on, social media, the traditional media, election commission, judiciary, they are saying everything has been taken over by the ruling dispensation.
Look, all I'll say is this, and it's not something, I don't, as I said, I don't think there's much credibility, because they've been saying this about the EVMs also for a long time. The day a particular party democratizes itself, that's the day I'll be willing to listen to them comment on strengthening India's democracy. If a party doesn't have inner party democracy, if the party doesn't conduct elections, the party doesn't allow people to rise on merit, instead of meritocracy, mediocrity is rewarded, nobody will trust that party to be to fight on behalf of strengthening India's democracy. The first thing you have to do is fix democracy within yourself.
Which party in the opposition do you think has meritocracy? Where do you see it?
I don't know. I can't think of many parties that have that.
Okay.
And I certainly know that in my previous party, that meritocracy, where if you are someone who's capable, you speak well in parliament, you have something unique to add, you have a following of your own, you are immediately seen by certain elements as somebody who needs to be cut. And in your place, someone who's mediocre at best is elevated. So these are systems which, as I said, if you want to fix India's democracy, start by fixing democracy in your own organization.
Look, you're in the Rajya Sabha. Most of us would think that, House of Elders, that these are people who've got here because of meritocracy. Right? These are people who have a set of skill sets because of which parties have nominated them to this place. But sadly, that has not happened. It's degenerated. The debates are ghastly, where, till a couple of sessions ago, people were throwing things, standing on tables. Even now they come to the well of the house. It has been really awful. You've seen that chairman of the Rajya Sabha at times, get up in an emotional outburst and walk out. Why is it that the level of debates in the Rajya Sabha is so pathetic now?
I can't comment on other parties. As far as my party goes, I'm the only MP from my party. I'll be honest, I've always, as someone who entered parliament when I was 27 years of age in 2004, I would always try to speak constructively. I've always believed that, and I genuinely believe that the voter of India, regardless of which party is in power and which party is in the opposition, wants to see certain parties and opposition parties protest against the government, but not in parliament. I've always believed the public and the electorate wants parliament to be a place where politicians, regardless of their ideology, can come together for the greater national good.
Is it that you...
And yes, people, then you go on the streets, you fight on the streets, you agitate on the streets. That's something expected from...
But you don't do that. You didn't do that.
I don't believe parliament is a forum where...
Not just in parliament, I'm saying regular politics. You're quite the gentleman politician. Is that why you lost the election? Is that what happened?
No. I mean, look, the election in 2004, to be honest with you, the election to fight a seat like South Mumbai, which is the most urbane constituency in India, during a Modi wave and being on the other side, no force could have withstood that. In fact, I lost my election in 2019 with the lowest margin, significantly lower margin than every other candidate. All other 5 candidates, there's 6 parliamentary constituencies. So that was an election which we knew you went in, it was a difficult election to fight. But I am somebody who, there are 2 kinds of people in the Rajya Sabha. There's one set of people who have done only Rajya Sabha politics, who've entered parliament through the Rajya Sabha. I don't operate like a Rajya Sabha MP in the sense that my weekends, when parliament is in session, are in the constituency. My weekends are in Mumbai, working, there's programs, I function in the constituency as much as a South Mumbai MP. Today, there are more people, I can guarantee you, in my office than there are in the South Mumbai Lok Sabha MP's office. Every single day, coming for work, coming for representations, coming for a letter, coming for some help. And my relationship with Mumbai, frankly, is, it really, to be very candid with you, goes beyond politics. And I'll tell you why. One is, there is a certain section of politicians sometimes who may live in a particular city, but then they represent another area. They often go there every week, every month. I don't have, you can call it a luxury or an advantage or a disadvantage. I live in my constituency. I am accessible 24/7. My office is in my constituency. My residence is in my constituency. Secondly, my late father became a municipal councillor before he became a mayor from South Mumbai. He became a state legislator from the city. He became an MP, fought his first Lok Sabha election in 1980. And till he died in 2014 was serving as a parliamentarian. Even when he was in the Rajya Sabha, his weekends, even when he was a union minister, Mumbai, what is the issue, what's happening? So our relationship, win, lose, you win some, you lose some, that's part of politics. It's a very demanding constituency. It's a very diverse constituency. It's a constituency where you're asked about Operation Sindoor's visit, what does Panama think about our foreign policy, to what's happening on the ground, to a slum.
You were MP when 26/11 happened, you were in South Mumbai. So tell me your memories of that, and what was the first thing that came to your mind?
I don't even know where, that's a separate... I said this in Parliament again last week that the 3 terror attacks that happened between 2006 to 2011, most of them happened in South Mumbai. 2006 was the train blast, 7 suburban trains. Peak hours started from South Mumbai. 2008, 26/11 happened in South Mumbai. Both the hotels were in South Mumbai. Shabad House is in South Mumbai, all in the Kolaba area. 2011, the Zaveri Bazaar and Panchratna blasts also were in South Mumbai. So I've become an expert on how to deal with that, just out of experience, not out of reading any manual. And 26/11 was, what can I say? Just a crazy experience because, I still remember I was in Khetwadi in an area of South Mumbai for a program, and we had given some MP funds for some inauguration, some work. Inaugurated that, came back. Around 9 p.m., I heard and I live in Malabar Hill, and that was that blast in a taxi, which one of the terrorists had planted a bomb which blew up in a taxi. And you could hear it in the distance. It didn't sound, but it sounded unique. And around 9 p.m., the local MLA of Kolaba called me. She's no longer alive. And she said, where are you? And I said, I'm at home. And she said, can you come to Kolaba? And I said, why? And she said, no, there's a gang war between two factions.
Correct. That's the first thing.
And I got in my car, and it was my mom's driver actually who was there, and I said, let's go. And you won't believe it, but that those few hours, I saw everything that happened. And to be fair, Mumbai or even India was not ready for a terror attack like that. And I saw what was happening in Chabad House. One of my corporators was there, and he said, no, this is something going on. There's firing, there's machine gun firing. I saw the army who had come in a bit, the Marcos, which is the Marine Commandos of the Western Naval Command, they were in the area. I saw in Taj that there were like explosions. Then someone said, Oberoi mein kuch ho raha hai. I went to Oberoi, and the local policeman said, why are you roaming around? You're a MP, you should not be here. There's something serious. And, I was just driving around as a local MP that what can I do to help? And that's when I saw the Deputy Chief Minister at the time, Mr. R.R. Patil, who's no more, his convoy going to the DGP's office. And I followed it in. And that's when they confirmed that there's been a terror attack. And we may have some inputs from somebody. The DGP at the time, Mr. N. Roy. And, in fact, I remember the Chief Minister was in Kerala, and he was taking up private aircraft to come back because late in the night. And when I passed by Chowpatty, there's a man who's a police inspector who I know very well. His name is Hemant Baudankar, and he's alive. He's one of the people who apprehended Kasab and the other terrorist who was killed when they hijacked that car. And he said, you can't be roaming around like this. I'm sending a policeman with you. And I saw Mr. Ombale, who died, he just had a lathi. And I said, no, I'll move around. I have some karyakartas and corporators.
Oh my God, if he had come with you,
and
history would be different.
Very different. And I moved around when the Chief Minister, when Vilas Rauji and R.R. Patil finally arrived at Mantralaya, I went there and I pretty much briefed the government on what I've seen. This is what's happening in Oberoi, this is what's happening in Taj, this is what's happening in Kolaba, where the Chabad houses. And by then, I think we had also seen the car crashed right outside Cream Center, New York, a famous hotspot. And I found out then that Ombale had been shot. I found out that Kasab had been taken, one of the terrorists had been taken in an ambulance to a hospital. I saw with my own eyes the police seizing the gun, his gun. So I briefed the government about all of those things. And then late I think around 4 or 5 in the morning, at the time Mr. Shivraj Patil was the Home Minister of India. He arrived. There was a meeting in Raj Bhavan with the NSG, the National Security Group. And again, briefing them. So it was then we went to different hospitals, helping public with panchnama. Someone's relative had died. Someone was in hospital, arranging blood. So it was a horrific experience.
But nobody knew at that stage, at least in the first 12 hours, that it was a Pakistani or an LET plot, because this guy was wearing that kalava.
The funny
was
thing.
Was there talk about Hindu terror and things?
The funny thing that happened, I've never said this actually, when I saw the car, so I was going between Varsha, waiting
office
for Vilas Rauji to arrive, and Mantralaya. And first, when I went there, someone said, can this policeman go with you? And then the second time around, when I was passing by, I saw the car stopped and the glass was shattered. I saw the ambulance moving, and I saw the policeman holding that gun. And I don't know what the protocols are to keep them. And one of them said he's Pakistani, he was speaking in Punjabi. And and I briefed them about all this, but I don't think
So
Mumbai,
immediately they knew that this is
they
not
knew
a
one
local.
of the policemen said this to me, that he's certainly not a local. He's come from somewhere. And then later on,
and
people,
they knew the Punjabi is not Punjabi from India, but a Punjabi.
I remember him telling me that he was speaking in Punjabi and he's probably from Pakistan. His instinct. And, but nobody knew where he had come from. Nobody knew that Machimar Nagar and Kaf Parade was where they entered from. It took a while to understand all those things. And at the time, people were just like, the terror attack was still going on. They were still in these hotels. So I saw it very closely. I mean, that entire 36 hours, no sleep, not a sip of coffee, not a sip of tea, just surviving on pure adrenaline. And I've seen this frankly happen many times. I saw
What
this.
about Vilasrao Deshmukh taking people inside and all that? What happened there?
I mean, that was he. I think he took a director, and then when the Taj incident finally ended, and then he
Was he pulled up at all inside the party?
I mean, the chief minister was changed. That was an old story. But, I remember going into Oberoi when the terror attack had ended. And it was it was honestly I'd rather not talk about it, but it was a harrowing experience to just go and see what I saw. The Trident, and then you walk through that middle path to Oberoi. And, you couldn't sleep because of that. And that's what I just saw. I mean, imagine the people who went through that, people who fought the NSG commandos who ultimately went in there. Horrific. I mean, I still remember that. But, I've seen this with the train blast. I've seen this with 2011. When the day after I became a union minister, the day after I took oath, again, we found out that there's been a series of blasts.
Yeah.
And I still remember that Mr. Chidambaram had called me as Home Minister, and he says, "Is this in your constituency?" I said, "Some of it is." And then I flew with him as Home Minister. We flew to Mumbai, and we went to all the sites. Then there was a meeting in the state government. I've seen after the train blasts, the Prime Minister, my late father, who was a union minister, Lalu Yadav, who was railway minister, coming to Mumbai, meeting the state. So, you learn these, you see what to do and what not to do. And there are, the fact is that as a city, we are a far safer city today. I mean, we're a safer country, number one. And I said that in my speech, but we are also a far safer city. Our ability to respond, God forbid if something ever happens, somebody gets through the Navy and the Coast Guard and the Maritime Police. We have more deterrence in place in airports and public places to respond. There was nothing happening at the time.
When 26/11 happened, India did not retaliate. You're a young MP at that stage.
I said in Parliament, and I said this in my speech a few weeks ago, that I spoke in the Lok Sabha after 26/11. I demanded a white paper. I wanted retaliation.
From your own government?
From my own government. I said we should explain what happened, what went wrong. The country should know, the government should know, how did a terrorist on a boat sail from Karachi and land in Mumbai? How do they bypass the Navy? How do they bypass surveillance?
Coast
how do they
Guard,
bypass intelligence agencies? How do they bypass the Coast Guard? And how do they get in? The fact that Mumbai was unprepared, the fact that the Mumbai police, there was no coordination, but we didn't have what we have now, which is a unit of NSG in Mumbai. Maharashtra police has Mumbai police has its own police. So there are immediate deployments of these commandos that can go out. But we had the Marcos, which is the Marine Commandos. They went in, but not in a planned way. We had the army in Kolaba, where you grew up, in the cantonment. Yes. So right there, that's where it happened.
No, but the Congress government made it a virtue of not attacking Pakistan, not taking retaliatory...
Big mistake. It was a disastrous mistake to not attack Pakistan at the time. At the time, India had every reason. You had global shock. People witnessing a terror attack unfold before their own eyes. For days, people seeing that Taj is burning, Oberoi is burning, people are being killed, bodies being recovered. I mean, there was public angst against Pakistan. You've killed Pakistani terrorists, you've you've caught a living Pakistani terrorist, you've caught him alive. He's in jail, you're trying him. There was no reason to not done it. I mean, and not just me, there were many people. Look, I was angry. As a South Mumbai person, I lost friends, I lost people I know. But there were many people who said, go all out, attack, teach them a lesson. No real... and then, then you had the usual politicized, which there's no point getting into that. But then you had this book release that blamed somebody else, and 26/11 RSS ki sajish blaming the RSS. So there was also that same thing, like I said to you earlier. There was one section which was like, okay, let's go and do something. The other section was like, no, don't do anything. And don't do anything. There can be strategic restraint, can be a policy.
Sure. But
go out and do the opposite. hurt, blame somebody else, give someone a clean sheet. So I saw this happen. In
Is
my
Mumbai
opinion.
still vulnerable? Because now you have Asim Munir saying that, if something happens, we'll take half the world down. He's even said that Mukesh Ambani will be a target. I mean, these kind of bizarre statements coming from him. But then, the one part of me says that forget it. He makes these kind of comments. But then he did it before Pahalgam attack. And
Can I be very honest with you? I think that on national security, and I didn't get the time to complete my speech, but the last line of my speech, which I couldn't complete, was my advice to the opposition. And my advice to the opposition simply was, don't politicize national security, it will backfire on you. And I really believe that. I've seen 10 years of UPA when it comes to national security. I've seen 10 years of Prime Minister Modi's leadership. There is absolutely no comparison in my mind. There's no comparison. It's comparing apples and oranges. It's comparing it's comparing a sword with a cannon. There's just no comparison.
okay.
The fact that Mumbai today has not had a terror attack since 2011 for 14 years is proof enough that the state government, the central government have made Mumbai and India far safer. The fact that Naxalism is almost coming to an end. And I see this, I don't need to see national statistics, I see this in Maharashtra. Gadchiroli
Yes.
was one of, people talk about Chhattisgarh, people talk about Jharkhand. No doubt they had their share of Naxal attacks. Gadchiroli, look at what happened there. Today, Gadchiroli is becoming a steel hub. It's gonna, in time, it's gonna account for 25% of India's steel production.
Where just 10 years ago you couldn't imagine.
Which 10 years ago there was politics within that. That no, don't attack the Naxals. Hearts and minds is the way to do it.
Yeah. Gandhians with guns.
So, in my opinion, when it comes to national security, whether it's Naxal violence, whether it's terrorism, this government is absolutely clear. And as a Mumbaikar, I'm very proud. And the best example, forget the fact that statistically there hasn't been a terror attack. You talk to an average Mumbaikar who takes the train. You talk to an average Mumbaikar who goes to a movie theatre. Ask them one simple question. Did you feel safer during that time or do you feel safer now? It's not on the back of their minds.
Okay. Last question to you. As a young parliamentarian, would you, and politician, would you encourage the youth today to get into politics? Because most people are like disgusted and say that it's a quagmire, we don't want to get into this.
Firstly, thank you for calling me young. And I think when you enter young, you stay young eternally. But I've always believed young people should enter politics. I've always believed that every politician has a shelf life in terms of new ideas, in terms of their focus, in terms of wanting to bring about a change. And to be very honest with you, throughout history, from the time of Aristotle to now, people have always been disenchanted with politics and politicians. True. So I don't see that being a hurdle in terms of young people getting into politics. But I'll be honest with you, I've always believed, this youth versus age experience. In my opinion, you can have a young person has great ideas. You can be a young person who has regressive ideas. You can be an older person who has...
Are you being snarky about somebody?
No, I'll tell you, I'm giving my own experience. Not at all. I'll tell you, when I entered politics and when I entered parliament in 27, my fear was, will I be permitted to speak? Possibly. Will I be taken seriously if I speak? Especially in a forum like parliament. And I'll tell you, if you see my speech on YouTube where I spoke on the right to information debate, I remember initiating that debate. I spoke at the age of 28 maybe for almost 25 minutes. Extremely well received by the older lot, by the younger lot. So I really believe when you say young people entering politics, I think good people should enter politics. I would say beyond young, old, man, woman, rural, urban. I think good people with good ideas, people who genuinely have their ear to the ground.
Even if they don't have political lineage.
Absolutely. It's much harder for them.
Will they? Yeah.
It's much harder. It's certainly much easier for people like us who've there's no way I would have become an MP at the age of 27 if I didn't have that background. My father used to tell me that. I don't need someone else to tell me that. He used to tell me you wouldn't have even got a corporator's ticket.
Okay.
And someone like him had to, he says it would have been hard for you to get a corporator's ticket at the age of 27. He became an MP at the age of, in his mid 40s. I became an MP for the first time at the age of 27. So certainly when you have that background, it helps. I also believe it makes you you have to be more responsible. You have to love it more. You have to be wanting to do more. You have to work twice as hard as someone who's a first generation politician. But should people who don't have political backgrounds contribute? Yes, they should.
Have you met the Prime Minister after you become an MP?
Yes, of course.
Time?
Yes, I
You
have.
Okay, what is your takeaway after your meeting with him?
I mean, I've met him.
Did he ask you why did you join?
I won't tell you that.
Okay.
But no, he didn't. No, he welcomed me to the NDA, and I did meet him before that as well. But I really believe in there are times in a nation's history, if you really zoom out and you go beyond parties and you go beyond the confrontation style of politics which exists all over the world, there are sometimes unique people who come and go. And I truly believe that he is a unique individual who wants to serve the country. And I think that this is a very disruptive time in global politics. I don't think any Prime Minister of India, any government in India has faced global geopolitical challenges of this nature. Yes, we faced wars with Pakistan, we faced military issues, but the nuance with which you have to navigate through this geopolitical quagmire requires very, very effective leadership.
In the parliament, have you met with Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, face to face?
I mean, I've seen them. I haven't met them in parliament.
Is it awkward when you leave the Congress?
Look, I'll be honest with you. As I said, I don't.
In your personal,
firstly, when you ask me that, firstly, I genuinely don't. I've never said this, but I don't believe I left the Congress. I think the Congress left me. And there's a huge difference in the two things.
That sounds like a divorce.
Well, I think the Congress alienated itself from people like me. And people like me who had a legacy in this party, whose families have served the party selflessly, whose families have given as much as we've received, and who dedicated their lives for this party, who never brought disrepute to the party, always helped the party nationally, internationally, locally. So if you ask me, a political party in a business, for instance, you can be an effective, if you're a financial company, you can be just really good in finance and you can be horrible in other functions. If you're a marketing company, you can just focus on marketing, be terrible with finance. In politics, the basic function you need is human resource management. And to me, the fundamental change that has happened is the human resource management of the Congress party was world class back in the day. Its ability to manage, retain, attract talent was unbelievable. In a genuine way, it had great people who did that. The leadership had, were people who really rose through difficult times, knew how to do this, knew what it takes. They understood the meaning of struggling to get your voice heard. For a karyakarta who wants to do something, wants to make his or her presence felt. That human resource part of Congress has completely collapsed. And so that is to me the core issue. Then of course there are certainly huge deviations from Manmohanomics. There are huge deviations from earlier Congress.
So my question was simply that when you meet with Scindia, when you meet with, say, Jitin Prasada, so when you meet with these guys, they're all second generation and legacy of the Congress and all that. When you guys meet, do you say do you all have the same view that that's the reason why you left? And
I mean, similar reasons. I think there are, yes, the names, the people you've named, some people who tried to leave, some people who may want to leave, there are similar reasons.
Similar.
I think that there's one part where the party is no longer moving in the direction that they entered politics to pursue that path. It's deviated from that path. A good example for me being its economic
Is
strategy.
Shashi Tharoor also going to be part of
I
that?
have no idea. I wish him well. I think he's somebody who's very talented. This is my personal opinion. And
You
he's-
traveled with him, didn't?
No, I know him. I know him for a long time. I know him from,
this time when
Yes.
he was speaking about Operation Sindoor, everybody was like, he's going to get the axe because of what he said. The same with Manish Tiwari, the same with Anand Sharma and the others,
Look, I think Congress,
They
I
were-
think the opposition blew it on Sindoor. I think that certain sections of the opposition started by saying, we are with the government, retaliate, we support you. When the conflict began, those sections started saying, de-escalate. I mean, the Karnataka chief minister said, we don't need a war. We should not have a war with Pakistan, something to that effect. And then it quickly went into just core political points. So if they had really...
About the surrender,
if they had stayed,
Narendra.
if they had stayed the course and said, we believe government, do what you think is right, all the way to now, up until the point of even people calling our economy dead,
Yeah.
and refuting that, criticizing that statement, I think the opposition would have gained some points in the public domain. But I know how it works. There are certain sections and certain individuals who can't resist the Prime Minister doing well. And I understand where that's coming from also. It's coming from a very deeply rooted, a very deeply rooted entitled space that firstly, how can he be the Prime Minister? Then how can he do well? And how can he perform better on national security? And so it's not going to change. That I don't see that changing.
Yeah, we are in for some tumultuous political times, it seems, not just in the monsoon session, but continuing into the rest of the year. But anyway, thank you so much, Milind. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate that despite Parliament being in session, you have found time to come and have a detailed discussion with us.
It's adjourned. So
Yeah, that's also true.
yeah. I
Anyway.
spoke last week on a bill which, as a former shipping minister, on something which is I'm passionate about, the coastal shipping, and I think it's an important area to improve make in India. And speaking in the din, people screaming
Yeah.
this year, shouting and
Frustrating, no?
and you have to speak. Of course, it's frustrating. I mean, to be honest, for anyone, and I see a lot of people from, especially some of the government, the president's nominees, some of whom come from very illustrious backgrounds.
Sudhamurthy and the others. Yeah.
And they're just like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
and we are still, our skin is a little
Yeah,
thicker.
and you've done Lok Sabha, you know.
Absolutely. And we understand this is how it happened. But some of them, they're just aghast at
What's happening.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And it creates a vicious cycle, because then you become, let me not prepare. It's not going to work.
It's not, yeah.
And taking parliament seriously is a very important
Also
part
in the
of
media, the important or the MPs who are making these kind of informed speeches, those don't make it into the media as much as the crude and rude comments which
Yes.
are thrown at each other.
My recent one did,
Yeah.
thanks to, I must thank ANI for that.
Okay.
And I must thank Mrs. Sudhamurthy for that, because it's her reaction that made it a little viral.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice to
Milind.
see you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching or listening to this edition of the ANI podcast with Smita Prakash. Do like or subscribe on whichever channel you have seen this or heard this. Namaste. Jai Hind. Click here to watch the previous episodes.